Hello everybody out there. So for today's video, was gonna do a topic on fitness because I felt the need to do a fitness video, but lo and behold, was sitting here today and it just did not seem like it was what I wanted to do the video on. So have changed my mind, and hopefully whoever was meant to hear the video that I'm gonna do now actually hears it, because I feel like someone out there was supposed to hear it. So I wanted to do a video on people changing. So I feel like I said, I don't really know why, but I still called to talk about it. So the idea is people changing. So the idea that we have in our society is, especially in like romantic relationships, is that you get with someone and you find out that they have annoying habits that you don't like, or things that they do that you don't like, or however you want to phrase it. And you think that they're going to change, and you think that they're going to change for you, and that if you tell them that you don't like it or that you want them to change, that they will. But I believe this is even more common, obviously, with women thinking that men will change, even more so than men thinking that women will change. So I actually love doing videos when it's more of like what I believe to be the women's perspective than a guy's, because I think it's a little bit harder for me to put myself in someone else's like gender shoes. So it's kind of more fun to do the video on. So this idea of people changing in relationships for their partner. I, honest to God, don't believe it is something that happens. And I will kind of start off like I normally like to, either with a great analogy or a good little story. And for today, I'm going to be a little more vulnerable, and I'm going to give you a story of myself. Again, with all my videos, I don't practice what I'm going to say. I don't edit or cut anything. And obviously, since I'm streaming it, I can't edit or pause it or cut it, because if I could pause it or edit or cut it, then it wouldn't be live streaming. Anyway, so personal life story kind of that relates to this, especially from a guy's point of view. So about a year ago now, I was in a point in time in my life where I had been living in South Texas for a little bit, had moved here from the West Coast, and was in the best shape of my life, and was kind of going through a little bit of craziness within my life. My dad had recently passed away. My relationship with other family members was kind of strained and stressed, and overall my mentality wasn't really in a good, healthy place, to be 100% honest and forthcoming. Trying to be in a relationship, I had a really hard time, and to be very, very honest, like I was not 100% committed to my relationships that I was in, whether it was dating, something just like dating, or if it was more of a like serious like relationship. And I had a hard time not talking or seeking attention from other women. And I think this is something that a lot of guys and girls go through, And for myself, it kind of became a problem. And it became a problem to the point in time where I was actually interfering with my actual like romantic relationships because of the attention I was seeking or getting from other women. So I can confidently tell you that in the romantic relationship that I was in, or committed relationship that I was in, my partner multiple times had asked me to change, and she, I don't know, pronouns. She had wanted me to change and to stop seeking attention or wanting attention or getting attention from other women. And of course, she believed that if she loved me enough and she cared about me enough and showed me how much she loved me, I would change for her and for the relationship. But at the end of the day, I did not. It wasn't until, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, during this whole quarantine COVID craziness, that it kind of hit me like a brick wall, that I had kind of, for lack of a better word, fucked up that relationship, and that it hadn't worked out because of my actions. And I realized that I needed to make a change for myself, because now this was not only about seeking attention from other women, it was turning into other bad habits that I didn't like, and it was a change that I had to make for myself. So I ended up changing my behavior, changing my thought processes. At one point in time, I started talking to a counselor just because I needed someone else's opinion in my life who was professional, aside from myself, to talk to. So that's what I ended up doing. So I think that kind of quick story analogy, or not analogy, but more of a story, kind of like pieces together what it actually looks like when someone is asking you to change for them. And at the end of the day, I'd say 99.9% of the times, people are not going to change for anybody else aside from themselves. And I think that's a really hard thing to hold on to and to grasp. So I guess kind of like the idea of what I'm getting at within like my advice section of this is, if you're dating someone or you're getting into a relationship, you really need to be aware that people really aren't going to change for you. That especially after the age of about 25, people are pretty set in their ways, their mindsets, their beliefs. all the things that they do and the ways that they act. And I'm not saying people can't change. Again, that's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is that people at the end of the day have to want to change for themselves and have to want to be better for themselves. And I feel like there's a lot of women, and I feel like there's a decent amount of men too, who get into relationships who really want their partners to change some of their bad habits or the way that they treat them or treat their kids or treat the overall relationship or whatever their bad behavior or bad habits or just things that they do are. But at the end of the day, like I said, in the vast majority of cases, people aren't going to change unless they want to change their behavior. And I think the reason why it's so important to me is I've had a lot of friends, especially women, who have been in, I don't want to say necessarily like abusive relationships. Like obviously I've had friends that fall into those relationships as well, but more into like those borderline relationships where they're with someone who might have a drinking problem or who has a I have to yell at you when we fight problem, or just maybe just says bad shit to them problem, like just kind of an asshole, but it's consistent. And they think like, if I love this person enough, they'll change their behavior, they'll get better. If I plead with them enough, if I tell them enough they need to change, then they'll change. But again, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, the vast majority of people are very stuck where they're at, and they're not going to change what they think, how they act, and like the way that they are. Now, like a piece of advice and suggestion I would give you is, if you find yourself in one of those relationships, because it does happen. I have been in it before when I was younger, where I was like, oh, like the girl I was with, like she drinks a lot. Like, you know, like if I tell her that I want her to change and I love her enough and I show her how much I care, she'll stop drinking. But that didn't work out that way that time either. Is if you find yourself in a situation, my advice is to address it with the person. I guess before that, address it with yourself, because like sometimes people have dumbass habits that we don't like, or things that they do, little quirks that we don't like. Like, I don't know, maybe your dude leaves the toilet seat up and that pisses you off, and that's your pet peeve. Like, if that's a make or break thing for you in your relationship, then that's on you. But that's kind of, in my opinion, a little more petty. So same kind of thing. If your girl's always on social media and that bothers you for some reason, then again, I think it's kind of petty, but you have to figure out like what actually is important enough for you to like want to end a relationship. So I'd say, obviously, be introspective first. Think about why it actually bothers you and if it's that big of a deal. If it is a big enough deal where you want to move forward, then my first step of action I would tell you to take is let the person know that it is an issue. And like I'm telling you, like this is like a quick and easy way to figure out like if things are going to work. Is you can tell the person like, hey, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like that you're drinking this much. I don't like the way that you act, talk to me, whatever it is. But if you let them know that it's an issue, you need to ask them if they want to change. If they tell you that they don't want to change, then you have to leave. There's no matter of actions, words, or things that you can do or say to make the situation better. That person is going to be set and ingrained with who they are and how they're going to act. So you just need to get the fuck out, to be 100% honest and be really blunt. As far as after that, if they tell you like, yes, I do want to change, then you need to tell them like, okay, like I need to see actionable change. And again, like I said, it's very uncommon for people to change for someone else. So you need to tell them like, I need to see actionable change. And if you don't change for yourself, if you're just changing for me, it's not going to stick. I mean, again, if someone tells you like, okay, I'm going to quit drinking because you want me to quit drinking, not because I want to quit drinking, they might make it 1 week, 2 weeks, a month down the road, but eventually they're going to go back to it because they don't personally see a problem with it. And like I said, there are cases where maybe, like again, it's a maybe. It's those 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million people who are going to change for somebody else. But the vast majority of the time, it's going to require them to do it for themselves. So if you don't see that behavior change, and I mean quickly, and if you don't have them telling you that they want to change for themselves, again, you have to get out of the relationship because it's not going to change. It's not going to get better. It's going to be the same. And again, like I said, the biggest problem for me is I see a lot of women a lot of times believing this myth that if they convince their partner to change, if they love them more, if they do more, they'll change their reaction, they'll change their behavior, they'll change their actions, and they'll end up treating them better and treating the relationship better. But at the end of the day, from my own personal experience, being the person who's kind of being shitty, I wasn't going to change for anybody else. I wasn't going to change for any girl, any person, anybody. It was about me and me doing what I wanted to do. So if I was going to change, it was going to be for myself. And there were times where I said I was going to change for my significant other, but that didn't come to pass, obviously, because it took me enough time to go through the shit to want to change for me. And I've been on the other side of it. where I've expected my partner to change because it's a bad habit, and I've talked to them about it 1,000 times and told them how much I don't like that they did whatever that they were doing, and I tried to love them and tried to show them that I was worth changing for. But at the end of the day, again, like, it's so point blank and dry. If you don't want to change for yourself, then you're not going to change. Like I said, people are so ingrained into their behaviors and their thought processes that don't waste your time putting energy into somebody else, especially in a romantic relationship, if the things that they're doing are things that they're ingrained and gonna keep doing, and they have no interest in changing it, like, for themselves, that they don't want to become a better person. So that's kind of the general quick gist of it. It's kind of a quicker video, to be 100% honest with you. So as far as it goes, for all the YouTube fan bam out there, just wanted to say, please feel free to share the video, even on the live stream. So feel free to share the video as well. At the end of the day, I've kind of had this idea of being authentic. I don't like the idea of telling people to like my shit or subscribe to my videos or any of that stuff, just because I feel like it's inauthentic. It's why I won't cut my stuff. It's why if you go watch my video on YouTube, it'll be this exact same thing without like the little Q&A at the end in it. And I think that that's the most important thing to me, is I just want to come off and be who I am and kind of put out the real talk to the real world, and the hard truth is what I like to call it. So the only thing I'll ever ask is for you to please share it. If you got anything out of this video, please share it. If you know someone who is going through a situation where maybe they're with somebody who they're having big issues or fights about whatever, and they're telling you that they're going to change, or that they said that they'll change, or that things are going to get better, maybe share the video, because maybe it'll help them. Or, again, this one wasn't really too much of a funny video, but if I did make you laugh, or if in the future videos I make you laugh, feel free to please share it in those situations as well, just to brighten someone's day. At the end of the day, the goal is to improve or brighten 100 million people's lives in small ways and big ways, and that is the goal. Oh, I guess the only thing that I'd ask you to do also is if this video does help you or does help someone else, message me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, whatever other ways you can get a hold of me. Just let me know that it helps, because that's the whole goal, is to help people. So that's pretty much what I have for the YouTube fan bam. I'm gonna get off this video now, and I'm gonna go to answering the Q&A section. So if you do watch this on YouTube, if you do want to answer me to answer your questions live, please let me know. And if it's a super good question, then I will save it for another video, because some of those take way too long to answer on the Q&As. Anyways, so for now, YouTube family, stay healthy, stay safe. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye.